Hey folks, what's going on? It is Wednesday night right now, and it is August 28th. So I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed and share with you what we had going on here today. We ended up having a little bit of a fire. It was actually took place right in behind me. We've actually got the equipment moved out of the way now. But the 7810 that I feed with ended up catching on fire this morning about 10:30. And the fire started up in the cab of the tractor. My nephew actually noticed it. He was spreading manure, and I was off checking fields that I had planted a week 10 days ago. And he got a hold of Jared, and between Jared and my brothers, they tried their best to get it out. They had it 95% out. The fire was up in the headliner of the cab. The radio must have caught on fire or something, and the extinguishers that they used on it, they spent a couple, 2-3 of them on there, and it just got rekindled, and it got back going again. And by the time the fire department came, it was into the fuel tanks, and it got into the tires, and then it ended up getting into the mixer wagon too, and it actually ruined the mixer wagon, and the tractor's a total loss. Now when I got done feeding this morning, I had it parked right over here. We call that bunk 3. We got bunk 1, 2, and then 3. I had it parked right there. Luckily I didn't have it parked here next to the hay barn. Sometimes I pull it in right here, and then in the winter time we pull the one mixer wagon inside, plug it in there, the other mixer wagon over there, and then the payloader's down the third bay. Anyways, I had it parked over here, and just luckily it wasn't up next to the barn, or else we would have lost this barn. This barn here is our hay barn, and we got it full of straw and hay here. So there's a couple of fire extinguishers that got spent here today. But that's where the fire started there. We're going to walk over to the tractor here in a minute. We had to get the tractor out of there because we have a swale in the concrete right here with where our leachate water runs from the runoff of the bunk. Anyway, I wanted to clean all the crap out of there because we ended up losing all the fuel that was in the tractor, and it was going into our leachate containment system, which we're going to get into that in a minute here. So we're going to walk out and look at the tractor. We unhooked the mixer from the tractor with the tires burned off of the tractor. The drawbar was just too low on the mixer. Jared pulled the 7810 out of the way, and the drawbar of the hitch on the mixer wanted to dig in. So we unhooked it. So we're going to run out and look at the tractor right now. Boss. The engine is somewhat salvageable. We think that is okay. We pulled it out of the way because of the sunlight's getting to us. But yeah, there it is there. We'll just take a little bit of a walk around it. We're going to try to keep this video short here, but it ruined the tires, obviously. The engine is probably good on it. Can't walk and talk at the same time here, so yeah, damn disgrace. It was it's a 1998 7810. I had about 17 or 18,000 hours on it, and we had no issues with it. It was a good tractor. So we're gonna take a look at the mixer. We ended up parking the mixer on the other side of the road. I wanted to go a little farther away with this, but it wasn't traveling too well. They dragged it out of the way here with a 9410, and I had just filled the tractor with fuel this morning, so I had a full tank of fuel, and you can see that the fuel tank, it's a plastic fuel tank. It's kind of like a saddle tank. They run on both sides, and as soon as the fire got into that tank, boom, it was gone. But the fire started up inside the cab here somewhere, and all that there really is up in the top side of the cab is the regular AM FM stereo cassette, or just a regular AM FM radio. And the fire investigator came, and this was the wiring that went up into the cab, and it's got some, the way that these wires are burned led him to believe that that's where it started. But with as much of it that is burned, it's really hard to tell exactly what triggered the fire, although, you know, we can tell that it was electrical fire. But about the only thing that's salvageable is the engine. It did not get into, I don't think it hurt the wiring too bad. There's a couple of things that are melted here, but I think the engine is salvageable. This engine's only got about 5,000 hours on it. So we're going to take a look at the mixer wagon here right now, and I'll drop some clips in. I did not get any video of this burning. It was just, that was the last thing that was on my mind, and between my nephews and my son, ended up getting some pictures of it, and it does not look too awful nice when that damn thing was on fire. And one of the first pictures, all it was just a little bit of a fire up in the top side of the cab. There's just plastic and fuel and everything else that once that stuff starts, it's a death sentence for him. So let's take a look at the mixer wagon, and we'll try to wrap this video up here. Before we run down and look at the mixer, that's where the tractor caught on fire, right here in front of bunk 3. We have to collect all of our runoff from the bunks, and it was sitting in the swale. So the water runs, it's all this concrete's tapered here. The water runs into a containment system here, runs along the front side of these bunks here. There's catch basins to catch the low flow all the way across these bunks here. There's a couple, 2 or 3 catch basins in there, and then the high flow, like the rainwater and whatever, that's just going to run off the top of the concrete and collect in the catch basins as it goes. And we've got a swale in the concrete here for the water to continue on through here, and then down through in front of the rest of our bunk area here. Now, because of the tractor having fuel in it and fuel tank rupturing and whatever, it had to be reported to the DEC. Now we're going to walk down into our collection area here, and we had to hire a spill response, a spill recovery response team to come in here. NRC came in here today, and what we ended up doing, we've got a 15,000 gallon tank in the ground right there that we can collect. I think you call it low flow. It would be the actual juices and stuff that come out of, and the runoff from the silage, and we are able to collect that, and then we put it in our manure trucks and mix it into the manure at the lagoon. So we were able to contain that and catch this runoff and run it into our manure trucks. But the DEC wanted us to hire a company to come in to help clean this up, and they furnish these oil absorbent units here. They've got a bunch of them placed out across here, and then that goes out into our high flow area. The idea of this system here is to collect the low flow. It goes down into a drain right there. So if you've got just regular fluid or juices or whatever coming out of the silage, that's just going to flow into there slowly, and that's going to go, that drain is right there. That's going to go into the to a 10,000 gallon tank underground. When that light turns on, we know that tank is getting full. We can pump that over into our manure trucks. So what we didn't want was that oil and fuel and whatever to get out into our I think you call it the high flow area. So that was the concern. They came with a large vacuum truck, and they ended up sucking some of this scum off the top, and they came to just kind of make sure nothing got out into there. And what they wanted to do is collect the fluid, or the water that we sucked up or that we ran into our manure trucks, and ended up dropping off 2 frac tanks. Those hold like 20 some odd thousand gallons a piece. We've only got a couple of small loads on. We were just running it into the trucks as it was as the water was coming across the concrete here. It frickin' rained the whole time today. So we monitored that. We kept pumping it into our trucks, and they ended up sending, we only needed one. They ended up sending a second one because they had to get the work order put together to get tanks here, and they weren't sure how many we were going to need. So with that being somewhat explained a little bit, we got kind of a little bit of an event going on here, more than just a frickin' tractor fire and a piece of equipment burning up. And it was quite an eventful day, to say the least. So we're gonna run over and look at that mixer wagon, and I'm gonna close out this video because it hasn't been too fun working around this crap here today. All right, folks, there's the mixer wagon after the fire. This is a Supreme 900 mixer wagon. It's a 900T. I rebuilt this mixer wagon 4 years ago. We put new wall liners in it, new screws, and all that crap. And it's kind of disappointing to see it in this state of affairs that it's in here right now. But there was just no saving it. The tractor got that freaking hot that it just freaking destroyed it. It's probably not worth rebuilding, really. I mean, you could see that's where the scale head goes right here. It just freaking took that. Everything's gone. Nothing was left to it. Nothing. Burn all the wiring off of it, obviously the hoses, all that crap. Now, if we were to rebuild this mixer wagon, we would have to put 4 brand new weigh bars on it, and ended up burning them up to the point that they have to be replaced. So there's one on each corner. That makes 4 of them. This tire here was hissing. I ended up blowing it with the I pushed on it with the payloader. I was afraid that this tire was gonna blow, and when I did pierce that tire with the payloader, black smoke had come out of it. So that tire had been burning inside. Then you've got the clear view hubcap on it. That's how hot that got. So there might be a good chance that, like, the bearings, the wheel bearings are probably shot. If anything, maybe that seal on the back side is no good. So the bearings would have to be replaced. Brand new seals on the axles itself. All new hoses would have to be put on it. All new wiring, which that's not a big deal. But the one thing I'm concerned about, this mixer wagon has twin screws on it. There's 2 augers, and there's a planetary on each auger, and I don't know how hot those planetaries got, and you know, they could need a full rebuild. And with the mixer wagon being 8 years old, I'm just not sure it's worth putting all that money into it. We got to see what the insurance company says. I'm almost certain that they're gonna total this mixer wagon out, but it's it's really unfortunate that this had to happen, because I hadn't kept the mixer any longer than like 4 years, and being that we rebuilt this one and it was already 8 years old, I just wanted to see how freaking long it would just go. Just keep running it, because once you reline them, the liners actually last longer than the original walls. But the reservoir for the planetaries here is on the right hand side. Now it appears that it has oil still in it. These are regular hydraulic hoses, and the hoses, the outside coating is burned off of them, and then this is just like an overflow breather hose, and this hose is well, I guess that's got like a nylon core to it, so that's still good, and it looks like there's still oil in there. But as hot as these wires and stuff got, I just can't guarantee that that the seals are any good in the planetaries. I would not want to trust it. A bearing goes on the inside of one of them planetaries, and you might have a full load on there, and the damn thing could lock up on you, and we just don't need that. But the tractor's what caught on fire, and look at the tail lights in the back of the mixer wagon here. They're just absolutely freaking melted, and it got so hot it got into the rubber top extension to it. It's really unfortunate. Maybe the only thing that we can salvage out of this is the conveyor chain. That conveyor chain I had just put in, I want to say it was about a year ago. So that's salvageable, and maybe the rims, but other than that, there's just the cylinder, for example, that got hot enough to melt the coating off the hoses. What are the seals going to be like? Now it's still up in the air, but it might be up in the air because them rubber seals might be so constricted that that it's just set right up on that cylinder rod there. But yeah, we'll take a peek inside this. I mean, look what it did to the rubber here, which can be expected. It the tractor was on fire, but yeah, the screws, we could take the screws out, I guess, and use them in another 900 mixer, but we really don't have any plans of getting another 900, so we actually need something a little bit bigger. So that's gonna about do it for this video, folks. I don't know how long we're getting here, but it was an electrical issue. I had said that earlier in the video. Electrical issue on that 7810, something up in the headliner of the cab, and we haven't had any intermittent problems with the electrical system on that tractor. Usually when something like that happens, there's something that gives you hints as to a problem brewing, and there wasn't anything wrong with that tractor. It wasn't operating it was operating normal. Everything worked on it, and it just catches me by surprise here that something like that would have happened to it. It scares you, because these electrical fires, there's just, outside of something getting injured, you just cannot predict when they're going to happen. And just luckily it didn't destroy anything more than the mixer wagon and the tractor here. Now if we had it inside a barn or near a barn, we'd have lost the barn. So with that being said, folks, that's gonna do it for this video. And I posted a picture earlier today when this happened here, and I figured I'd share a story as to what went on with it here. And yeah, so thanks for watching, folks. We'll catch you at the next video.